Very good. So hammer the delusion. That is our topic, and this delusion starts from the birth and continues. It doesn't leave us until we do the consistent, regular study, contemplation, and reflection. We can instantly recognize here is the delusion, and you get out of it. And then you are happy. In when you are happy, it's a cognitive ability, my friends. That is what the mindfulness is. You simply cognitive ability is there and you are gone. For example, oh, I'm very happy with the things outside. I'm very happy with the things outside. And instantly you have a cognitive ability. Nothing outside. Terry was saying it's cold, neither cold nor heat outside causes the happiness. If you like cold, you are happy. If you like heat, you are happy. If you don't like cold, you are unhappy. So this delusion is rampant. It lives with us from moment to moment in our life. So why we say it is irreversible process? Because that real self cannot be changed. Real self cannot be changed. So I have to settle in the real self. No, no, but I know. Who am I? Check yourself. Check yourself. Are you dictated and affected by the outer situation, conditions, people, relationship? Yes, I'm always affected. Then you are not living in your real self. Then where I'm living in the false self. What is this false self? False self is the ego. Again, remember, in Eastern wisdom, we don't say ego is arrogance. We don't talk about opposite of ego is humility. We are talking of I thought. We carry the burden of this ego and I thought in personal, professional, social life. Remember this. And it takes time to understand and contemplate and reflect. It is not a one day affair. Take an example. If I ask the question, how attachment and aversion, now see, I'm going to the false self and the delusion through the path of the attachment and detachment. So, this attachment and detachment are the two strong emotions that leads to suffering and delusion. How? How? I think that now that is what we are trying to understand. Once they are settled, you have to contemplate and reflect, my friends. Why they are strong emotion? First thing, they distort my perception. And it happened just now, and we shared our common concern with Jerry. Jerry and me, we shared a common concern. There are strong emotions. But from where those strong emotions come? From the factors I have a biases already living in my mind. For example, you don't like beard. So every time you say, okay, I like your talk, but I don't like your beard. So that biases will continue. So you have created your own bias. It has nothing to do with me. So they distort our perception when we are caught in intense attachment and aversion, we lose the ability to see things clearly. Our vision, our perception is clouded by these powerful emotions, and biases, we are already entered into a delusion. So attachment and detachment reinforce false notions of the self. Pay attention. False notion about who am I. So when it is reinforced, the sense of an absolute. Oh, I'm an absolute because I'm rich, for example. I am absolute because I'm more beautiful than my neighbors. It is outside. That is what I claim, that this ego is the permanent self. When I claim that the false ego is the permanent self, obviously I'm already deluded. Why? The ego is constantly changing and it is going to hurt you. It's very painful, deeper inside. But outside, then you try to control. So again, there is a distorted perception in my life. I have to understand, contemplate, reflect, practice meditation until I find there is a center in me that is irreversible, my friends. They perpetuate clinging and craving. Now see that what happens. Attachment and aversion. So now I'm already attached and I have that feeling. I have already declared that I am this self. So what this will perpetuate clinging and the craving. Clinging and the craving. It will continue to perpetuate. So it means that I continue to live in that false notion since I wake up in the morning until I retire to the bed, by getting attached to or developing aversion to certain things or certain ideas, which is of enduring importance to me without checking it, without understanding it. Delusion. Now, if I have a delusion, it creates an internal conflict. Tell me, is there any reason not to be happy at this moment? Tell me, at this very moment. Huh? You are listening, you are a receiving station, and I am a giving station. Now tell me, is there any reason? But there are a lot of reasons, because my mind picks up that distorted perception even now while listening. Why? Again, attachment and aversion and ego. They amplify my reaction. When something we are attached to changes or disappears, we react strongly. Because ego always reacts strongly if anything changes. I want a static. I want $1 billion. But after all, you have to spend some money also. So even $100 becomes less than $1 billion, you are reacting. Oh, a couple of hairs are gray. I have all the hairs are gray. Then you look into the mirror and you are anything and everything. This delusion, you have to hammer this delusion by knowledge, by understanding, by critically thinking, followed by the practice. Practice removes the impressions buried deep inside, and contemplation and reflection brings the clarity and conviction, and that is what the talk is. And they also prevent your equanimity. You have to hammer this delusion all the time. Why equanimity? Attachment and aversion is a one-sided affair. One-sided, that you don't like, say, for example, the beard, or you don't like a person. That is one-sided affair. That is what the attachment, you can instantly recognize this attachment or aversion or detachment. What to do? Recall, Bhaj Govindam. That is what I have been saying. Recall, remember, relive. Just say to yourself, communicate to yourself, I'm of the nature of real self. Why am I unhappy? Why am I attached to this? I'm of the nature of. So you are reminding yourself. That is what the Bhaj Govindam is. Prayer is a prayer and worship is a cognitive ability to know that I am the real self. That is what the prayer. Anywhere, anytime, any religion, any god and any goddess. So it means you see that a seeker is not against any religion, any god and goddesses. We are not entering into a discussion whether the God exists or not. We have nothing to do with it. Mine is clear. There is a nearby, hardly 2 miles away, there is a one big temple. It is known as Temple of some days, some sect of. They didn't allow me, it was so beautiful. So I said, no, let us go there. And their people didn't allow me to go inside. They said, first you tell me that you believe in Jesus. I said, I told you that I believe in, that's why I'm here. No, you only believe in it. So I said, if the Jesus takes the shape of another name in the form, should I not believe in every human being? So I said, no, I'm okay with it. I'm not coming. You have to get rid of this kind of a delusion. We are not against, we are not in favor of any organized religion. What is a prayer and the worship? You know that the peace and happiness are not the properties of anything in the world. That is your prayer and that is your worship. Now, see, I'm taking you to a little higher journey. What? What I said? Peace and happiness, love and wisdom are not the properties of anything in the world. You have a recognition inside your head, you have that cognitive ability, and you are there. That is what the Bhaj Govindam is. That means that I recognize what I recognized in my head. Why I'm craving, why I'm attached, why I'm averse to one person, one situation, one condition. Terry was saying, I know it's very cold. Why I'm averse or attached to cold or heat? Nothing of that sort. What happens? You are not inviting trouble to yourself because you recognize that peace and happiness are not the properties of anything in the world. The moment you recognize peace and properties are happiness of anything, any situation, any person, any relationship, you are inviting trouble to yourself. And you will distort the perception and you will have a problem. Think, contemplate, reflect, contemplate and reflect. You see, my right teaching also becomes wrong. That also causes the delusion. We were just talking of, I was just talking to Stevens, a guy who says that, oh, this beer guy sleeps only for 3 hours. I will also sleep only for 3 hours. And now he is living in delusion. And that delusion will cause him the suffering. It took me almost 10 to 12 years to reach to that state. I did not force it. Now apply the same thing. Oh, my neighbor is so rich, I have to work hard. He has this car, I have to work hard. Copying, imitation, attachment and aversion. No, I have to be with myself. Get attached to meditation. If you want to get attached, attach to meditation. Attach to these principles. Remind yourself, recall, remember, oh, these principles. Don't allow the unhappiness, a feeling of insecurity, feeling of dissatisfaction to enter into your life. Why? How they enter? Because of the attachment and aversion, because of the delusion, because of the delusion. It's a wrong capacity to derive false pleasure, pain from a situation, people, relations. Now, this guy is also trying to sleep for only 2 hours and 3 hours. What will happen? Sleep disturbances. Then craziness. Then he will not only disturb himself, he will disturb the entire family. Because I don't think, I don't contemplate and reflect. Think. You have to hammer the delusion first by understanding, contemplating, and reflecting, and followed by the practice. Optic delusion doesn't create any problem. The optic delusion, even if it creates a problem, science is there, it removes that. We instantly recognize rainbow is a delusion. Blueness of the sky is a delusion. Mirage water is a delusion. It helps us. But what about the cognitive biases? What about when I distort my perception because of attachment and detachment? There you have to come to Eastern wisdom. You have to learn these principles. What about the hallucinations? You have to listen and understand these mental distortions of the perception. It may be due to the drug. It may be due to the clinging and craving. And then we have societal delusions, racism and nationalism and other prejudices cause people to judge others out of ignorance. What we do, bhaj govindam, bhaj govindam. Now, clearly understand, bhaj literally means prayer and worship, but it has a different meaning. So again, I said prayer and the worship means a cognitive ability to recognize the thing as it is. Let me hold. Let me become aware of that craving, the feeling of the strong emotions. Let me calm down those emotions and see the life as it is. Bhaj Govinda. I'm in the state of the Bhaj Govinda. Otherwise, I have a blind belief. I distort the perception. I stick to that perception. I gave an example of this guy who says, I will only sleep for 2 hours. So it's a blind belief. I, I did not judge whether I can do it or not. And what are the challenges that I have? So now what happened? Because of that obsession, there is an intellectual fantasy, there is an intellectual paralysis. And when we have intellectual paralysis, we always live in that delusion. We are not doing a self-inquiry. That is why I took up all the lessons a couple of months before. What exactly is the self-inquiry? And that is why many people enter into the path of the Eastern wisdom and they fall. Yes, I told you last time on the LinkedIn, he said that I'm a farmer monk. What do you mean by farmer? Once a monk, you are always a monk. What do you mean by that? But, we are very much attracted. Oh, he's a farmer monk. Let us find out. As if you are an ex-president of USA. So even if you are ex-president of USA, you are given certain security and facilities. You are a farmer monk, you don't get anything. Get rid of those ideas. Mistaken, mistaken identity. Recognize, do I have a mistaken identity? You will fall back into delusion. We construct a false identity based on our body, based on our mind, based on our emotions, based on our role, based on our possession and accomplishment. But if you create a false identity or a mistaken identity, they are constantly changing, and that will create a delusion. When I say, when I live my life as a teacher 24 hours, what happens? Then I'm much more than my profession, which is not required when I'm visiting the stores, when I'm driving a car. It is not required. See that? We get attached to it. We get attached to it. Living reactively, that creates another, it creates, it happens because of the delusion. Without knowing the real self, we lack a stable inner anchor. So we live reactively, influenced easily by external situations and how people treat us. People, you guys treat me because of your personality. It has nothing to do with me. You treat me because of your impressions. You treat me because of your cognitive ability. Whether you say I'm good or I'm crazy, it depends on your ability to perceive me. It has nothing to do with me. Can I keep that in my mind all the time? You are free, free from delusion. Are you getting it? I'm simply saying, so my another way to discover that delusion, I seek validation. If I seek validation from you guys that what Eastern wisdom is, what are the principles, instead I should help you to get the clarity. I should explain the way so that you understand it, you assimilate it. But if I seek a validation from outside, why I seek a validation? Think of it. Praise, status, appreciation. But this validation is fleeting. Now think of this guy who has started sleeping only for 2 hours, forcing himself perhaps to remain awake. Now, how his parents will receive me? They said that guy is crazy who forced him in this problem. That is the problem. And that is how this Eastern wisdom gets a bad reputation. But it is not because of me. I'm okay with it. Fear based, anything we are scared of also causes the delusion. How? I make a decision from a place of fear, from a place of hesitancy, from a place of insecurity, rather than wisdom. We all are, we all are human beings. We have an average intelligence, isn't it? Just even think we have an average intelligence. So if I make a decision from a place of fear and the insecurity, means that fear and insecurity is making a decision rather than contemplation and reflection. Let me think and contemplate. Let me think. Let me contemplate and reflect. So I go into the mode of non thinking, dictated by the fear and the insecurity. It will cause a delusion in you. Do whatever you want to. You may be a super intelligent, but the place of the fear and the insecurity is how you have started thinking and solving the problem in your life. It will definitely cause a delusion and it will give you a stress. It will make you anxious. Because of that place of the fear and insecurity, I want to protect my false identity. I will avoid risk. I will avoid new opportunities because of the fear of failure or rejection. Delusion and duality lives together. Whenever you find the mind is confused, we say, I have a lot of tension. Tension means two thoughts are opposing each other. One thought wants to move in this direction, the other thought wants to move in another direction. Duality. So when the duality is there, make it sure that you are in the delusion. You have to hammer the delusion. What to do, what not to do. No, I should do. But instead, you start thinking and resolve that duality, come to a decision, free from the fear of relationship, of money, of anything in the world. Anything in the world. Delusion, delusion of having and not having. That too is a problem. A couple of weeks and months before I asked views, and also uh, I just want to buy a simple property where I can convert this into a center. Another 15, 20 years are left, this body. So give me the suggestion. So it is not a focus of having. So because I want to use that to become a contributor. If it happens, it's okay. If it doesn't happen, that too is okay. You're not attached to something. Remember this. We constantly try to accumulate and acquire in order to enhance our self image. But this never leads to fulfillment. This never leads to fulfillment. Working long hours to accumulate more wealth and possessions cause you more stress. Thinking that it will bring the lasting fulfillment, but it doesn't bring that way. You have to divide dependence for physical necessities, house, dependence on the house or a shelter, dependence on the clothes, dependence on the food. They are physical dependence. It does not cause any form of a delusion. Psychological dependence causes the delusion. Why? Because I want to be a consumer. You become a contributor and you see there you are not dependent psychologically. I want to share this knowledge and the wisdom to you. I become a contributor. Think. So wherever you are in a family, become a contributor. Get rid of that being a consumer. Wherever you are. We have a wonderful attitude. I think most, not every country has this. If something is on the road, we pick up it and we put into the garbage. It is a contribution. I can tell you small things. Small things. Say somebody is upset over you. Can you become a contributor? What need to do? Don't react. Put the things in a right perspective. Don't get scared that one is emotionally upset with you, so I should start talking with from the place of the fear. No, not at all. Not at all. And it takes time. It doesn't happen in a day. It takes time. Constant, you find a situation, sometime it will click. Oh, this is what it is. One is emotionally upset and you move with love and affection and care, and the problem is solved. Sometimes you move with an affection and care, but the other guy is full of delusion, does not understand. So you have to be little forceful in with your conviction. No, this is wrong. So we learn, we educate the mind. And once you are out of the delusion, you are very near to the real self and awakening. Close your eyes. Eyes are closed, my friends, being comfortable and carefree. You already remember. I know that. You all know being comfortable and carefree. I need not to go into detail. Being comfortable and carefree. Comfort gives you a sensation, comfort and steadiness, and carefree takes you away from the wandering nature of the mind. And I think I was telling someone yesterday that if you have a wandering nature of the mind, it is all because of seeking. So that delusion is at the surface level. Unless it goes deep inside, it doesn't create a problem. But if the mind is wandering, it will definitely go deeper if you do not take care of that. And that is why we replace it with the mantra Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Now you have to contemplate and reflect the way I discuss that how this mantra fits into today's discussion. We need that kind of a sharpness of the intellect, not getting carried away by the mind so that we do not fall into intellectual fantasy. You have to communicate to yourself the way our subconscious mind thoughts communicate with us in the state of delusion. Same thing we apply. So let everyone be happy. Where is a place of fear and the insecurity? I need to think, speak, and act. Why? I am of the nature of happiness. You stick to it. You communicate to yourself. You see, I'm translating the mantra according to the principle Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu, Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Can you communicate to yourself and translate that peace with reference to today's discussion? We need to contemplate and reflect. Don't start thinking in craziness that if there is no thought, I'll be in a meditation. You are already in a state of no thought in deep sleep. That is not meditation. We're going to understand clearly. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. May there be completeness, wholeness in all. Can whatever is whole and complete can be in the state of fear or insecurity, duality? Now reverse this. As long as I'm in a state of fear, delusion, and duality, it means I'm not feeling a sense of completeness. Why I'm not feeling a sense of completeness? Because of I have an attachment and aversion to something, some person, some relationship. Let me explore it, find it, drop it, and return to my natural state. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. May there be auspiciousness for all. I used to do it a lot, many, many years ago, 20 years. Whenever I had a pain in the body or in the head, when I have adverse situation outside, no, no, what? Am I not breathing? Yes. Are my five sense organs are intact? Yes. Can I sit and walk? Yes. Is it not a blessing and grace by the existence at this moment? Yes. Then why I have a fear? Why I have a insecurity? Why I feel I'm not doing well in my life? I have to understand this clearly. And in that state, now the mind is settled inside. Look inside, look inside the forehead in the space. So that is one point of awareness. Then drop the Om Shanti there. Second point of awareness. Keep the body in the state of steadiness. Third point of awareness, and start breathing, quick and short breathing through both the nostrils. And a gentle in it, but remember that you are expanding and contracting the rib cage. Just continue. You are doing it in such a gentle, you are enjoying doing it. Now the breathing is not exhausting you. That is very important. Why? So you cannot get into the resistance of the mind. And even if there is a resistance, you can endure it, and there you can move to the next level. Continue as if you are enjoying and you are doing it. Well, if there is any resistance, you endure it. Why? We need that endurance. We are raising the bar of our endurance. Why? So that the little smaller delusions should not take over our life. and we can easily get rid of it. Is the breathing only the factor? No, breathing with awareness, with Om Shanti, with understanding, everything is important. And stop it, do nothing, pay attention to the flow of the breath. You have to convince your mind, and then you have to pay attention to the breath. Why? Because it is an unknown area. So you pay attention to the breath, which flow is not equal. So if any flow has a less flow, you pay attention there. So what is going to happen? Within few seconds, you will find out the flow becomes equal. If it is not, it means we need to do a little more practice. Otherwise, you may also experience some tingling, numbness, and peace and the joy and other visions and the colors. Yes, you simply accept it and you continue the journey. And again, looking inside the forehead in the space deep inside, drop Om Shanti there and start breathing from the belly. Long, longer breath into the belly. You will discover as you are continuously doing, perhaps I believe so, you are doing every day, you will find that you have no noise of the breathing. Why? Because the nostrils have become very clear. It will happen if you're doing it regularly. It's a little longer breath into the belly. Continue, my friends. Continue. Continue breathing. You will find a different experiences. We accept that. We accept that. And stop it. Pay attention to the awareness of the breath, the flow of the nostril. If both are equal, wonderful. If both are not equal, whichever flow is less, you keep looking there. Can I also think about that? Yes. Oh, my left nostril has a less flow. So I'm paying attention to the less flow. Yes, you can communicate. It will help you to bypass any resistance by the mind. And now looking inside the forehead again, you already recognize the body is in the state of motionlessness. And Om Shanti continues and start breathing long, deep breath both into the belly and the rib cage. Your belly expands, your rib cage expands, your belly contracts and the rib cage contracts. One inhalation expands both belly and the rib cage. One exhalation contracts the belly and the rib cage. So you're not breathing in breaks. That is also important. It's a long, deep, and the hissing breath. Yes, when I say hissing breath, if both your nostrils have an equal flow, you will miss that hissing sound. Just see that. That is a wonderful state. And stop this breath. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. You already have a variety of experiences in the body. When both the flow of the nostrils are equal, you are paying attention on the other side, you will find as if you are fully settled. You need not to worry about anything outside. That sense of equanimity is there. There you can see, oh, the duality has gone. A sense of delusion is not there. Yes, instead of the mantra on the 16 segments we were doing in the end, let us start doing that on the 16 segments. You just bring the mind's here on the first segment, Om Shanti, second segment, third, like this, you keep on doing. We bring that first. So it brings a tremendous awareness. Om Shanti, Om Shanti, and now leave this. Bring your mind in the cave of your heart. Visualize it. Equilateral triangle pointing upward. Move your mind with Om Shanti on the side. I mentioned it earlier, awareness of the side, awareness of the movement of the mind, awareness of dropping Om Shanti, clockwise and anti-clockwise. And the moment you find there is a singing mentally, move the mind deep inside through the triangle, deep inside the heart, Shanti. And Then do nothing, a kind of self-absorption. Recognize the mind wanders, the time when the mind wanders, and the time you return defines the quality of meditation. Mm. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms, know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. If you have any question, you can ask. Question. How are you, Stephen?
Thank you. Good. The I settled into meditation rather quickly, like I usually do. But during the fast breathing, um, I it hasn't happened in a very long time, but I noticed that when my flow of both nostrils evened out and opened up, I lost the cadence of my breathing. So, and I struggled for a little bit to get it back. And then I basically had to double my cadence of the breathing in order to get back on track. And as soon as that happened, I completely settled into meditation. It was just completely self-absorbed until the japa, that I could feel this sensation on my fingertips. And then as soon as you said to stop, there was like a shock of energy that went up my arm, through my shoulder, and into my chest.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
that was it. And until when you said to bring your hands to your eyes, I just got overwhelmingly cold at that point. But I would just say overall it was just self-absorbed and knew when I got distracted. So
Beautiful, wonderful. One point that you mentioned, when we need to struggle, we have to endure it. This is going to happen many a times until everything is settled. It takes time because of those uh, past impressions. They will return on the surface and will be resolved. Beautiful. How are you, David?
Great. Thank you. The message at the beginning was, as always, very enlightening, I guess is the right word. My meditation started out with my nostrils being a little stuffed, and I said to myself, I'm going to be attached to Om Shanti. And I got attached to Om Shanti through the entire meditation. And I had just 2 times when I kind of went out of that, but very quickly was able to come back. And by the time I got to the japa, I could actually feel not my fingertips like Stephen, but I could feel touch points on each one of my 16 creases.
Yeah.
So it was wonderful. Thank you.
Wonderful. You see that you think that let me be attached to Om Shanti. It is going to create a totally a different state of the mind. Normally, we don't recognize the attachment unless it starts creating a problem. So when you're doing it consciously, you are getting consciously attached to the Om Shanti. So that is not an attachment. Attachment cannot be conscious. But you are saying it. So it helps a great deal. Very good. Wonderful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. There was definitely this underwhelming calmness and peace. And at the same time, the intellect was working on the mind through the entire meditation, to the beginning of your analogy of, oh, the teacher tells us that he only sleeps 2 hours, or maybe he doesn't sleep at all. And the intellect has to inquire then. If the intellect thinks, oh, I don't need to sleep, well, then we need to inquire about that. We have this tool, this amazing tool to use. And the same with an assumption. If someone asks you to do something and you assume that you're being asked to do that and it's all based around truth and you don't inquire, then we get ourselves in trouble.
Yeah.
And when something presents and it's disappointing to us, and we think, oh, maybe we're being sabotaged, and the minute the mind goes there, we know we're not.
We are not.
We again use our intellect and say, okay, let me ask questions. Let me try to understand. So it was a very good lesson. Thank you.
Very good lesson. False assumption can only be eliminated by the intellect. False assumption that creates the delusion cannot be eliminated by simply practicing and breathing. Make it clear. I have to think. I have to contemplate. I have to get rid of that mental, emotional attachment. That is very important. in the journey of this Eastern wisdom. So normally we say we need to believe and then it will happen. What we need to believe, we need to believe in the real self. Real self cannot be seen. I see you all, so I need not to believe anything. I see you. It's fine, done. But in order to research, first believe, pending inquiry. And that is how we find out. Beautiful, beautiful explanations. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. Good morning. Today's lesson made me think of something that happened the other day. A dish broke and one of my children said, "Are you okay?" And I realized my reaction is always tension. You know, if they break something, I can get upset. And today what stood out is the efforting, the tension, the duality, to slow down and notice those little tiniest of moments, to be able to bring this wisdom into having a loving response. Yeah.
Yes, yes. You see, you are just, your mind became instantly subtle and recognized, and it something breaks, that is subjected to change. The world is subjected to change. Do whatever you want. So if it has happened next time, I will take a precaution. But what has happened, let me maintain that state of the calmness. So yes, it can come. It's another beautiful way to put it. How are you, Brandy?
I'm good, thanks. My experience was similar to Christina's. I had an awareness kind of connected to the lesson that my really active mind stuff is heavily conditioned by the need to like produce for work. Although the more I work, I don't make more money, unfortunately. I just, keep working, right? And sometimes and also pointing to the fact that things are so inconsistent. It just depends, even from meditation session to meditation session, how active my mind is trying to take me into work and production and stuff, like Monday morning kind of stuff. And I'm like, why? I mean, like it all gets done. And so it was that process during meditation of catching myself, like, what's my reaction going to be? How am I going to bring myself back? So it was really meaningful today, but it was kind of a lot of work, even though it wasn't supposed to be work.
You have to apply this principle, this wisdom all the time. You have to go deep and contemplate, if I keep on working, and you rightly said, it doesn't bring more money. So can I become a contributor? Can I become a contributor instead of being a mind of a consumer? Mind of a consumer means I want more. So consumer mindset and a contributor mindset. So that is going to change our mind from the ignorance to wisdom. It takes time. You contemplate. Every time you are busy and you ask yourself, no, I want to be busy. Why am I want to be busy? How are you, Dennis? Beautiful way to explain. I'm very happy. Yes.
Thank you. My mind was settled very quickly in the meditation. Was not reacting to the thoughts and sensations, but at the same time aware of both the thoughts and the sensations. Like you once said, aware but not interested.
Yeah. Yes, that is wonderful. That is another way. That is what the David said. I'm attached to real self. Or I can say, yes, whatever the thoughts are coming, I'm not interested in you. And then check your level of awareness. Then you find yourself already out of that delusion. Beautiful. We have Terry. Do you feel cold now?
No, actually, the heat came on during the meditation. and I just moved between the practice and my occasional distractions of thoughts of outside things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a really, yeah, this and again, beautiful. I think your practice has been consistent in the last many, many weeks. You have been very consistent
Mm.
in your practice, and that symptoms of Parkinson is not showing, especially during the meditation, or it is less and less. Perhaps that everyone is watching. So think of that, my friends. Contemplate and reflect. Pick up the way Christina and Brandy has said that, use, relate these principles to your daily life challenges. Then only it is going to help you transform the mind. That is all for today. Thank you very much. And
Thank you.
namaste.
Namaste.
Meet John.
Namaste.
Meet John. Namaste.
Bye.
Sure.